My name is Darrell Williams. I'm 20 years old and I work at Goodwill.
Darrell was a student at Palm Avenue Exceptional Student Center. He worked with work enclaves, which assisted him with trying to find employment and gain skills for employment for his future.
The mission of Palm Avenue is to provide educational, enrichment, and real-life opportunities to our students so they can maximize their potential as they transition into the community. Our interaction with Goodwill is because of Robert Graver, who is our job developer.
We identified 12 students that would be successful in the summer work program. Darrell Williams was one of our candidates. After the interview, he was identified with Ms. Lewis at Goodwill that he would be a good worker in the warehouse and also in just general cleanup.
Darrell stood out in the summer youth program. His hard work for the ownership. So when an opportunity came up in the laundry a year later, still very much remembered his name and his work ethic. So he was the top candidate for that position in the laundry.
When I first met Darrell, I felt that, oh man, this guy has a trait. This is a dusty facility. It's hot, you know, you're sweating. I was like, he's not gonna be able to work. I was wrong.
First interaction with Darrell was when I was called in to be the laundry supervisor. And in the laundry business, it calls for a lot of folding. And I noticed that he can do about 20 or 30 long sheets. I said, man, you have a gift. He said, it's simple. He said, I just love my job. Darrell said, hey man, you know, I'm no different, just treat me the same, and I just want to be the best at what I do.
Having a job made me become a man and made me take responsibility. To be able to hand my mama money, to be able to help my family, made me feel good.
He has the mindset that no matter where he's at, he's going to give you quality. He's going to give you his best, and he will also have a lot of pride and professionalism as he sets forth and does his work.
Goodwill helped me out in many ways I thought they never would, and I truly appreciate it.
I left Guyana because I was looking to expand my horizons. When I first came, I worked at a bakery in New York. Well, I left New York because I found that it was getting a little too unsafe for me. Got to Atlanta, I worked at Macy's. I worked there for about 5 years. They decided that they were going to close their Atlanta-based stores. That's when I moved to Maryland. But when I got there, I found that there were lots of gangs. And I got a little too close to that experience, so I got as far away as I could from that. I was interested very much in writing, interested in seeing how far I could go in that area, but certain realities stepped in and that took a back seat to just survival. When I got here, I didn't know anybody. Being homeless. There's a certain stigma attached to it. You are dependent on others, and in some instances you are looked down on, but being homeless is not a good feeling. When I first got to Sulzbacher, it did take some readjusting.
I met Anthony when he came into Job Junction. He was referred to me from the Sulzbacher Center by his case manager, Ron G. Things wasn't really falling in place for him the way I had hoped. Whenever a new participant come into the Sulzbacher, they're referred to me for job search assistance. We tried a couple of times at getting them an interview, and previous 2 or 3 times it failed.
There were vacancies at some locations at Goodwill. I think after the 3rd attempt, he managed to get an interview set up, and the rest is history.
My first thoughts on Anthony were, boy, he's quiet. Other than professional, I really didn't know Anthony's whole story. Our working relationship has been only for the past couple of months. Anthony's interaction is always the same. It's pleasant, it's with a smile. That's how Anthony approaches everybody. My initial reaction to meeting Anthony was, wow, he's going to be really good. He inspires me to be better. I look at him and I'm like, wow, I need to get better at what I do.
If I could sum up Anthony, I would have to say Anthony was grateful. He was grateful for all of the resources that Goodwill was able to provide for him. He was grateful to be employed. And I think he's grateful for today to tell his story.
Thank you so much for coming on board with Goodwill. And I couldn't be any happier that you are now part of my management team at the Lenox Point store.
Congratulations, Anthony.
Congratulations and good luck.
Congratulations, Anthony, and good luck.
Thank you, Goodwill.
Life before Katrina was very hectic. I was holding 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job, and also taking courses. New Orleans is a 24-hour city, and a lot of people work their lives like that way, and at that time that was what I was doing. During the first evacuations from Hurricane Katrina, I was at work at the time at the airport. I helped other people try to get out through outbound air flights. By the time my shift was over, the last flights had left, and they started to convert the grounds of the airport into a triage center. If you weren't in that first wave, you didn't know if you were going to be able to get out at all. I drove home just to try to get my belongings together and prepare for the worst. When Katrina hit, it was unimaginable. I mean, you heard the planning of it all, the forecast of it all, but to actually go through it, the winds, the rains, the noise, the brunt force was unimaginable, and you just hoped that you made it out of that situation alive. I was in the outskirts of Metairie, New Orleans, near one of the causeway breaches. It was an apartment complex, and the building that I was in, all our first level was completely wiped out, at least 6 to 8 feet, and my apartment was 8 feet of water. So I stayed at the top in my top bedroom for the 3 days and waited it out. I didn't have any communication through cell phone. I didn't get any reception from anybody that I tried to call. I didn't know where my parents were throughout the whole time I was still in New Orleans. So the only inbound call I could receive was from a friend here in Jacksonville. She asked me if I had a place that I was planning on going, and I didn't have one at the time. And she mentioned that I could come out here and possibly stay with her till I got on my feet. When I first got to Jacksonville, one of the 3 addresses that I had was Red Cross Emergency Shelter. And from that point, I found out where the nearest Goodwill was. And I made it my business to get some interview clothes to try to find an employment. It was a little scary to not know how to navigate through a city that you've never been to before, to find some support services while you're in transition. The store that I found to get the clothes from was the Mandarin store. Ironically, the cashier who checked me out at the time, I was using my Red Cross debit card and my Louisiana ID. She just asked me, oh, well, are you new in town? I said, yes, I'm here from Hurricane Katrina. And she's like, well, do you plan to stay? I said, well, yes, I'm looking for a job. And she said, well, you may want to go to the job junction. They help you find employment. And she gave me the address, and that was my next destination that next morning.
The day Kendall McCoy first walked in the job junction, he says, my name is Kendall. I said, my name is Donald. He says he's looking for a job.
He said, I'm here from New Orleans, I'm looking for a job, and everything was just so fast-paced about me, and I remember him calming me down and saying, let's just slow down and see where you are and try to help you out.
I said, hold up, man, let's set some rules. Stop speeding. When you speed, you get tickets. And he was telling me he's from New Orleans. I said, well, you know, program manager's from New Orleans. I said, man, it might be a good fit.
Donald called me and said there was someone in the Job Junction that was applying for the employment specialist position, and at the time we were advertising.
She came down as a supervisor, program manager, introduced herself to me, and she was like, "So I hear you from New Orleans?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she's like, "Okay, well, welcome to Jacksonville." And that was another embracing moment at that time for me and Goodwill and staff to welcome me to the city. Even if employment wasn't going to be through them, that was one of the very few welcoming words that I had citywide at that time.
When I met Kendall, he spoke with such passion and compassion to work with people. I just thought he would be a great fit in terms of personality and the mission of Goodwill.
The following week, I was offered the position.
I came to know about Kendall's story because I was working on a story about Katrina, and I wondered what the impact was in Jacksonville from the evacuees. So I knew that Goodwill worked with a lot of the evacuees. So I called Bob Thayer and Karen Phillips, and they said, "You know, we've hired a man from Goodwill." And I interviewed Kendall, and his story was amazing.
Through Goodwill, I work as a RISE workshop facilitator. RISE standing for Reaching Individuals Seeking Employment. And we incorporate career development strategies, stress management, motivational activities, job retention and interviewing techniques, resume writing, and basic computer skills.
As a program manager and being in all of the sites frequently, I get feedback from the participants we serve. And all the participants that go through the workshop or encounter or meet Kendall in the downtown Job Junction all say positive things about how he really helped them.
Kendall has the resolve to make things happen. He has a great attitude. He's always positive, and he always looks for the way to make the best of any situation. I asked Kendall if Jacksonville was home now, and he said it sure feels like it.
Kendall, congratulations. In the past 5 years, you've exceeded your goals in terms of being an employment specialist and helping people. Your future is very bright with Goodwill, and continue the good work.
Congratulations, Kendall. You are most deserving of this award.
Well, I just want to thank Goodwill for the opportunity of investing in me and taking the time to allow me to assist in their bigger picture of helping others. Thanks to the program managers and a lot of the other staff who have been there with me on great steps of the way to assist me in my vision of helping Goodwill help others people. And thank you a lot. Appreciate it.